Hey, Frank Paris here. I'm making this video because I've got a lot of people asking me, mostly kid show magicians, if I could make them uh, one of my Frank Paris lie detectors. And I call them Frank Paris lie detectors because I differentiate between other people making them. Robert Baxt, very fine magician, very fine manufacturer of lie detectors and other props that he makes. Nick Wenger, who I bow down to and kiss his ring because he makes the best. And I'm somewhere close to the top, but behind Nick Wenger. So I don't need to steal his thunder anyway. Um, but I got a call from a magician the other day who said that he has a lie detector made by this manufacturer. I'm not going to mention the name. And he said he wanted me to fix it for him. He said it wasn't doing what it's supposed to do. I mean, without going into technical details, once it went on, it wouldn't go off. Okay, and it was an ear piercing sound that came out of the lie detector. Why he even bought something that had an ear piercing sound coming out of it is another question. And again, I'm not going to name the manufacturer. Um, wasn't those two people. It wasn't the people that I mentioned already. So the reason I bring this up is because he sent it back to me, and I got it in pieces. I mean, apparently something happened with the postage or the box or something to that effect. And I figured, well, maybe I could slap it back together again, with some epoxy. But I couldn't gain access to the electronics inside because I wanted to make modifications. I wanted to put a buzzer that wasn't so loud and uncomfortable for the audience or the person who is sitting there holding the lie detector. I couldn't gain access to the electronics. So I told him, I says, look, I know I know what you want because you told me in Facebook that you want something simple. Means simple, simple. And I said, because I can make it as simple as you want. I can make it as simple as this, which is his. It's going out to him tomorrow. Or I can make it as complicated as this. This is my own personal unit, which I won't part with. But I can make something as complicated with respect to the way it looks. Now, when I say complicated, I mean I can make it look as fancy schmancy, okay, or as unfancy schmancy as possible. Now, if you're just doing kid shows and parlor shows, and some people even use these things for, I've got a couple of people who have bought these things, these comedy lie detectors that do adult shows. So, I mean, obviously the questions are a little bit different. And my premise is you have the lie detector, you ask people whether or not they've sat and had a lie detector strapped on, and they would say no mostly. I mean, if they say yes, then you may not want to use them in your act. But the people who mostly will say no, and the simple thing is one of these on their laps, or the more complicated one is this. And I've got magicians from, depending on their pocketbook, how much money they can afford, will buy something like this. And I have people who don't even hiccup when they see this, and they buy this or something as complicated as this. So this magician, a kid show magician, I think he's a kid show magician, wanted something as uncomplicated as this, and this is it. This is just, if you're telling the truth, the alarm won't go off. If you're lying, the alarm will go off. And that's basically, let me turn it on. I can turn it on. Okay. You'll get this. Okay. The remote may be a little bit different. This is a remote I had lying around, which you can clip underneath your arm or, underneath your shirt and just press. Excuse me. You can clip it to your belt actually, and just and just press the heel of your hand against it. So this is the simple one that I made for him. Now, I'm getting to the point where I don't make these that many. I don't make many of these anymore because they're extremely labor intensive. And I mean extremely. This takes a couple of weeks to do because I've got other projects and other things that I do. And I travel and lecture a lot. And I own a magic school now, so I got to prepare for that. So I'm not making things as complicated as this. I am making simple ones like this, okay? And they range anywhere from the simplest to something in the middle and something a little bit higher and something like this. I will make the onesies for that particular customer. And if you want to see the ones that I make, a variety of the ones that I make, I only brought these two out because they're both in stock. Obviously, this is going out to the guy who paid for it to be repaired, and I didn't charge him for the broken one he sent me. I'm just going to send this out to him with free shipping. Well, since it opened up, I'll show you. It holds 12 it holds 8 1.5 batteries for a total of 12 inches. 12. I'm sorry, 12 inches. 12 volts DC. So that's basically it. And the on-off switch is on the outside, so you never have to go on the inside with this. Now, again, he just wanted the red light. If the kid is lying, that's the bit that he uses. The light will go on and the sound will go on. And again, this kind of remote control, you won't get this remote control. You'll get another kind of remote control, something like this. And you can add a couple of extra buttons, glue a couple of shirt buttons onto this here, or Velcro them on, so that you can keep this under your belt loop, or somewhere, or get a piece of material and just glue it onto the back, and then add a safety pin to it so you can have it with the buttons glued on, so you can press the button. And I'll show you how this works in a second or two. So if you want to see more of the kinds that I make, you're going to go to the search on YouTube, and you're going to type in these keyword search words: Magician Frank Paris lie detectors. Each one is individually custom made by me. They could take between a week and 2 weeks to be made. I take PayPal, and I will give you pricing on these items. And these items will be unique. They won't. If you got one on Monday and you wanted another one on Tuesday, I wouldn't make it the same way. I would make it a little bit different, because I want people to realize that their unit is unique and different from Joe Blow's unique. It's not a linking ring. It's not. Five guys doing linking rings. Your unit will be unique to you and be different. And you can make suggestions as to whether you want a green and red light on there, one for the truth and one for a lie, or if you want, like this one is, or if you want just a single red button for the lie. Okay. And again, this is the kind of sound you're going to get. Now, this will work for a parlor effect, and it probably will work on stage too, because the noise carries. It depends on if you're in a Shea Stadium, you may not hear it. Or maybe solo, you can barely hear it. But most magicians don't work in large venues, okay? Especially kid show magicians. They're usually doing block parties, or they're doing bar mitzvahs, or they're doing school shows, that kind of thing, festivals, that kind of thing. So this might be where you want to go. These are going to be $189. That's shipped to your door. It's $189 the way it sits here, and you'll get a remote control, something similar to this, or there may be a white remote control, and you can add some extra buttons on there. If you twist my arm, I'll rig it up so it'll work on your belt. Okay, so that's basically it. Now for this one here and anything in between, first, again, go to YouTube and type in Magician in the keyword search area, Magician Frank Paris lie detectors, and you'll see all of the ones that I've made in the past. Okay, I want you to get an idea of this is the lowest simplicity-wise, and this is the highest complicated-wise, okay? Now, one other thing, when you do that, okay, that you should remember. Every single one of the lie detectors that I make, if I die tomorrow, somebody will know how to go in there and make modifications to it. I make them very simple in the wiring schematics that I put together. So you won't have to worry about me. Well, French God, now, who am I going to get to fix this? You can go to Nick Wenger to get it fixed. You can go to Robert Bax to get it fixed. There are a lot of guys that you know that build their own props, you being magicians for 5 or 10 years, or people that you are friends in the family who are electronics guys, that are computer guys. What I'm doing here in both of these units, when I say complex, I mean there's more wiring involved in these things. You've got to wire these two guys, you've got to wire these two guys, you got to wire the green and red lights on top, the green and red lights on the, so it's more wires, okay? But they usually go to a central location inside the box called a terminal block. This one doesn't have a terminal block because it's only one red light. Okay, again, I don't want to get too complicated, too electronic-y with you. All right, this one here uses a 12-volt power supply, which is rechargeable, and that's on the back. Okay, so bearing that in mind, you will not have a problem with taking these units and getting them fixed if something happens to me. If I become incapacitated or something happens where, I cannot build any more of these things, there is nothing in here that's brain surgery. There's nothing in here that's brain surgery. When the brain surgery comes in, when it comes to the overwhelming amount of time it takes to do the wiring and making sure and testing and that kind of thing, making sure that everything is working. This is a walk in the park. I can do this in a day and a half, not even a day and a half. I can do this in a couple of 3-4 hours. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying it's simple. There's nothing complicated about it. A lot of people like something small and compact like this. For the $189 you're getting a box that's small that fits on a kid's lap or an adult's lap, or they can just hold it or whatever sitting at a table, and it you can use this unit. Now, the other thing that you can do with this, and this is something that I recommend because I do this in my shows, is when I use a lie detector, whichever one of the ones that I build, okay, I have a clipboard. And on the clipboard, I show the questions that I'm going to ask. I say, ladies and gentlemen, these are the questions I'm going to ask. They see the questions, but they can't read them for the audience. And then I just quickly turn it around, and I use that clipboard with that paired with the questions. And I maybe have 5 or 10 on there. You do a little comedy banter back and forth with kids. Do you kiss girls? Do you wash your belly button every time you take a bath or a shower? You know what I'm saying? Whatever lines you want to use when you do kid shows or even adult shows, if you want to. I wouldn't get too personal because the husbands are usually sitting in the audience and they'll get you afterwards. Not that it's happened to me, but there's a couple of scars on me. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that you want to make it as uncomplicated as possible. So I have this clipboard, and underneath the clipboard, Velcroed underneath the pages, is the button, and I'm holding the clipboard like this, or down like that, so I can actually press the button through the clipboard and get the same results. I say, "Are you a virgin?" You know what I'm saying? Or did you brush your teeth this morning? That kind of thing. Did you get the belly button linked out of your belly button? With kids, you don't do the virgin thing, but so that's basically it. And that's all I wanted to tell you. Again, the small one, the uncomplicated one, is the one that I'm showing you here. This uses the 8 1.5 batteries, and it's got a 12-volt power supply, and the on-off switch is here. Okay, the transmitter has a battery in it. You can replace the battery. It's a 3-volt battery, and this battery here also will be replaced with a 3-volt battery, and it opens up by just jimmying it with a little tiny, a little screwdriver gently. Okay, and you'll see the 3-volt battery, and you can buy those 3-volt batteries on Amazon, or you can buy the Duracell 3-volt batteries for those things. Uh, so, I mean, that's basically it. Let me just show you what this one looks like so you can get an idea. All right, I'm going to turn it on, and here we go. So you can see, and I've got, like I said, if I had a clipboard, there would be a truth and a lie. Let's see, this is the lie, and this is the truth. And I can show you the backs. Those LED lights in the front are very bright. Okay, there's a meter in the front which I put in there. That this particular one, the model that I have here, the meter is broke. I've got to do some servicing on that, but usually that dial goes back and forth while when it's in the on mode. But I've got to replace the rubber band in there, and so that's basically the unit. These Sylvania tubes, TV tubes, I can't get anymore. I mean, I could get them, but then I'd have to modify them and put little LEDs in them so you could see the lights in that. These I can still get these guys, you know. But again, this is $1,200 if you want it, and it's going to take at least a month to make. You know, so there are other things that are less money when you go and do a keyword search. There are $300 ones, there are $400 ones, $500 ones. This one is $189. I think I even make a $250 one. So that's if you want the green and the red light, okay, and 2 remotes. That's $250. And by way of let me just turn this off. By way of expense, these are rather cheap. If not to mention the fact that Nick Wenger, who I know and I respect immensely, charges more for his stuff, and rightly so. But I aspire to be a Nick Wenger, but I'm getting up there in age, and you know, I'm happy. I got customers who buy things like this very, not occasionally, you know, very rarely, but they want the best, and they want to have something that nobody else has, and they will ask me for something similar to this. As I said before, I do not make the same thing twice for them. I mean, they can suggest that I put a light here, a bell there, or something like that. And I can do that for them, but I'm not going to make and duplicate the same thing. I want each one to be. I want it to be like a Picasso. Okay, Picasso never made the same painting twice, so that's basically it. And again, the compact size that you see here is the way I suggest you go if you're doing kid shows. You know, maybe you wanted the red and the green light, but this customer just wanted the red light, or at least that's the impression, because this is going to go out. That's the way he's going to get it. And I'm going to have to charge him if he wants me to throw